This is a problem. What's going on, fish nerds? Hope you're having a great day. As for me, I'm having a little bit of a pest problem. A gross pest problem. I got leeches. I've got leeches in one of my aquariums, guys. Of all things, leeches. Best I can figure is that they must have come in on plants because I did get all the hornwort that's in all these tanks. It did all come from a single source. I ordered them online from a lady who sells pond plants. So best I can figure it, she's growing hornwort in her ponds, and some leech eggs came in on one of the stems of hornwort or something. Because it's only in one tank. Even though I've got the hornwort in essentially all these tanks, I've only found leeches in one tank. So I got to get it taken care of. Problem is, all the research I've done has led me to believe that they're indestructible. Everything I find is just different ways that they won't die and different things that won't kill them. Like I was reading that Panicure won't even do it, even though Panicure is supposed to kill all worms and leeches are technically a segmented worm. I've read stuff about how they don't die from using Panicure. I read mixed reviews on whether or not Clout will kill them, but Clout will kill all your invertebrates. But I think I've come to a conclusion. But first, I do want to show you the leeches. I don't think I would be able to find one right now just on the spot, but I did get some footage of one earlier, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you that now. Alright, so there's a view of him. Actually caught one out. Well, sort of. He's mostly down in the gravel, but you see him wiggling around there. They stay mostly hidden, but every now and then they'll stick their little heads up and then just wiggle around like that for a little while. And then they disappear just like that. Oh, there he is again. If I go in after him with a pair of pliers or something like that to try and catch him and pull him out of there, they're actually pretty fast. And they'll scoot down in the gravel and they'll disappear pretty quick. Okay, so these things are gross. One good thing, possibly a good thing, is that I don't think these are blood-sucking leeches, because in the research I did, I found out that there actually is such a type of thing as detritus leeches, that they are technically a leech. They look just like leeches, they swim just like leeches, they're resilient just like leeches. They're a leech. But instead of latching onto stuff and sucking blood, they just eat detritus like a normal worm would. And I'm kind of thinking that's what these are, because I've had fish in with them. I was hoping the fish would eat them, but they didn't. I did catch one and put it in the 55 with the angelfish. I just dropped it right in front of the angelfish, expecting it to eat it. And she did grab it, but then she spit it out, grabbed it, spit it out, grabbed it, spit it out. She chewed it for a while before she finally swallowed it. So these things are pretty tough, as in like tough skinned. So that's probably why the guppies didn't mess with them. But I've never seen them mess with a fish, and I've never even seen them messing with the snails. I've never seen one attached to a snail or anything like that. So I'm thinking these are detritus leeches and probably wouldn't hurt anything, but I don't want to risk it. And I especially don't want to risk it because I want to put shrimp in this tank. Okay, because this is the tank here. This center 10-gallon. So I do want to put shrimp in here so I can have 2 tanks of the cherry shrimp, because they're exploding and they're running out of room in this tank, which is an excellent problem to have. So I do want to have 2 tanks for these guys. But like I said, everything I've read online is basically nothing kills them, and everybody just advises just break the tank down entirely. But then I was watching Corey from Aquarium Co-op's video of Eric Bodrock's fish room tour, and Eric Bodrock was talking about using the hydrogen peroxide, and I forget what it was he was killing with it. I know he had the one bacteria that was blooming, and he would use just a little bit and it would kill the bacteria off in about 20 minutes, but then there was something else that he said he uses it for, and he just dumps. He said he just gives it a few glugs out of the bottle into the tank, and it kills whatever it was. But then Corey, clarified with him, you do have to remove fish in order to do that. And he said, yeah, absolutely, you got to remove the fish. So what I've done is I have removed the fish, because my theory is the reason people are saying hydrogen peroxide doesn't work, and bleach doesn't work, and salt doesn't work, and clout doesn't work, and Panicure doesn't work, is because they're using the safe for fish doses. And so I'm just going to use a not safe for fish dose of hydrogen peroxide and see what happens. Now, I do understand all these snails, it's going to kill those. And I don't mean to sound awful, but I'm okay with that. These are regular brown ram's horn snails. They're nothing special. I've got lots of snails in all these tanks, so I can replace those very easily. So that's not a huge loss to me. I would sacrifice the snails in order to get rid of these leeches. So I think my plan is, I've already brought the water level down enough that I don't have to worry about anything draining from this tank down here to this tank, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the drip emitter out. I'm just going to put it right here in the overflow, so that way I'm still dripping down to here, but it's not going into here, so this isn't going to overflow. So I can just treat this, dump a whole bunch of hydrogen peroxide into here, and I'm going to leave the sponge filter running so the water stays stirred up while the hydrogen peroxide's in there. And then I'll just watch the tank over the next few days and see if I can find any more leeches. I have dosed hydrogen peroxide in the past in order to take care of blackbeard algae, and it did kill a bunch of snails when I did that, so using this much, I do expect to lose all these snails. I did pull all the assassin snails that I could find out of this tank and put them over here. So these snails were essentially just assassin snail food anyway. But I don't know if the plants are going to survive it or not. If they don't, I've got more hornwort. I can get more hornwort. It's not a big deal. And hornwort's actually pretty sturdy stuff, so I wouldn't be too awful surprised if it actually even survives. So let's grab the hydrogen peroxide and give it a go. All right, got the hydrogen peroxide. Get back. Oh, get back here in the back some. Over here. Okay, that was probably overkill, but hopefully it will overkill these leeches. Get them out of here. Don't see any in there already, but all right. So that's that. I'll watch that for a couple days, and I will report back later whether anything happens with that. You can already see it's oxidizing like crazy in there. All those bubbles. Alright, now while that works, I need to do some maintenance on the 55, and I'm actually going to do a little modding on my canister filter, and I will show you guys that. Okay, so this is my filter. I did go ahead and break it all down and washed everything out well, sort of washed everything out, rinsed it off, more so is what I did. But this is just an API Philstar filter. It came with my tank. I bought the tank on Craigslist. I actually got the tank, the stand, the T5 lights, this filter, the 20-gallon over there, and the lights on it, and a filter for it. All of that in one big package deal for like 60 or 65 bucks. So it's actually a pretty sweet deal. But the guy that I bought it off of, he just had a bunch of these bio balls in the filter, which is fine, but there are improvements to be made on this, and cheap improvements to be made. Lava Rock. This stuff was like, I want to say like $5.49 or something like that on Amazon as an add-on buy. But look how small the pieces are. And this is 5 pounds. It might have been like $7, but I want to say it was like $5 or something like that. It was one of the add-on items. So really cheap and very, very, very effective. The surface area on this Lava Rock is going to be light years beyond what I've got with these bio balls. Bio balls are great for like wet dry filters where you've got a trickle going on and it trickles all through there, so it's the water's going over different paths the whole time. But when it's submerged and completely surrounded by water and the water's flowing over all of it like it is in a canister filter like this, you're better off with something like the Lava Rock that's going to have a whole lot more surface area. So I'm going from this to this. I may still have a little room in here to use some of the bio balls, but it's a pretty good sized bag. This may be all I need in there. So that's going to greatly increase the capacity of this filter, because that's really what drives your filtration, is the amount of surface area the amount of surface area that you've got for bacteria to live on, and then running water over that surface area with those bacteria in order to filter your water. So I should have a much more effective filter after this, and it only cost me $5. Rock on. All right, so here we go. This actually ended up being just the perfect amount of Lava Rock, or as the King of DIY calls it, Lava Rock. So you can see I'm almost maxed out here, and that was just the one bag, so it was like the perfect amount for this filter. I will say this stuff was a pain in the neck to get rinsed off. It was filthy. It was just like mud rolling off of it. So that took me a while, but we got it done, got it in there. So should be good to go here. And like I said, this filter should be a lot more effective now with all this Lava Rock in there than it was with these bio balls. I mean, and if you think about it, that's not near as much, just this little box of bio balls versus all this Lava Rock, because this goes from here all the way down to the bottom of Lava Rock. Aside from the fact that there's a whole lot more surface area on these little rocks here. So with that, I'll go ahead and show you guys what's going on over here in the tank. It's been a little while since we added the hydrogen peroxide. I did stir the tank up real good just to get everything mixed in there. So that's why all the plants are up here at the top. But looks like a lot of death and destruction in there. Hopefully that includes the leeches. But like I said, I'll just watch this tank over the next few days, and we'll see what happens with that. And you can see there's still a whole lot of oxidizing going on in there with all those bubbles rising up. And I understand I am going to have to recycle this tank and everything like that, because I'm sure all the beneficial bacteria are dead with that amount of hydrogen peroxide. So I'm going to have to recycle this, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. I would rather recycle a tank than to start throwing stuff into the tank and then have the leeches start causing problems. So I'd rather just get it taken care of and recycle the tank. So with that said, I do want to say thank you guys very much for watching this video, for joining me here. And I want to let you guys know I do have plans for some future videos, some fun stuff, some interesting stuff. I've got some DIY projects I'm going to be doing, and I'll film those and bring you guys along for that. I've got some other ideas as well, some things I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be building a do-it-yourself sump for the stock tank. So if you want to see all of that, be sure and hit that subscribe button. So with that, I will say, God bless you, fish nerds. I'll see you next time.